Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Epic Lycoris, continuing the first game again. Anyway, you know what we're doing. We're in this underground tunnels thing, just getting nowhere. Maybe. Who knows? While keeping an eye out for any mutants chasing us, we continued further into the tunnels without rest. And the silence makes me feel even more restless. It's not like they're crawling around knowing which tunnels are the main routes. I'm sure if it came down to it, they could just crash through the walls searching for food. Just as she finished speaking... Everyone, get down! Something comes crashing through the walls. Spacey. I hung on to Anko as hard as I could so as not to get tossed from him. Just then, the cracked wall collapsed. Rubble piled up between us and Adolphe, who was further ahead. Adolphe! I could hear the roaring wail of the mutant on the other side of the debris. That's not the one we're after. You all keep going. But... And don't worry. I'm not going to face it head on. I'll regroup with you guys after I lose it. I could hear Adolphe ready his sword in front of the mass as it began to move. Maybe he'll go find Eve. So long as you don't intend to make yourself a sacrifice, we'll believe in you and move on. You're good with that, right, Spacey? It'd be over for us if we stick around here and get found by more of them. Yes, I believe in the fact that Adolphe will come back to us safely. He fucking better. I nodded with certainty in Anko's arms. I'm a little jealous of the trust you have in him. Be sure to stay alive, Adolphe. I won't forgive you if you abandon the princess. I don't need to be told that by you. You just make sure you protect her. After a casual back and forth with Adolphe, he's so goddamn beautiful. While still holding me, Anko set off toward the depths of the tunnel with Spinel. I continued to hear the sound of breaking walls from what I assume was the others fighting mutants elsewhere in the tunnels. Amidst the turmoil, we continued to make progress through the tunnels. And just as the effect of the painkillers began to wear off and pain coursed through my body again, nobody thought to bring extras? We made it to the deepest part of the underground tunnels. Doesn't seem like anyone's here. Not even Dahood, who I assumed would be seated in his throne here in the laboratory. Anko must have had the same thought as he grimaced, contemplating where the gun might have gone. He might have been absorbed by the mutant, or maybe he hid away elsewhere. I just wish we had an idea of where the gun was. Anko looked around us. An eerie silence hung about the room. Our bodies quickly reacted to the sound we were so used to by now. Anko's arms that held me squeezed me even more tightly. But the sound was just so powerful we couldn't tell where it was coming from. Right at our feet, the ground began to strangely swell up right where we were standing. Ew. Spacey! Anko! Spinel pushed us away from where we were standing. There was a snapping sound. I could hear the massive form that burst from the ground, tearing away at flesh. Ew. That sound. Was that of the mouth on one of the mutant's arms, ripping off a piece of her stomach? Ah! Okay, well, I meant I didn't want anyone out. I know I said that she's been kind of pointless. I like Spinel, but they didn't need to add a new character just to pretend like they changed the main route and change a few things here and there and then basically make us do the first game again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so to that purpose, she doesn't serve a purpose other than to bamboozle you into thinking you got something different. But not enough. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean she gets to be mutant fodder. What the fuck, you assholes? You might as well have just not put her in to begin with. Although, to be fair, no matter how mad I am at this game for making me suffer through repeating the first game again and kind of being bored most of the time in Anko's route, poor Anko, like, I don't necessarily hate the fact that she's in love with Capucine. I kind of find that fucking funny. Disturbing and funny, so fair enough. Fair enough, I'll give you that. Like, we put her in there to make this awkward and weird. Yeah, that worked. But, you know, doesn't mean you get to kill her. Be like, well, somebody has to die, so we threw in a new character. Like, fuck you. You could have just, like, not. You also could have just, like, not made me play 10 hours of, like, the first game that didn't need to be done. Okay, we could have 2/3 this. Minimally, you know what I mean? Spinel! I screamed, forgetting even my own pain. The mutant had carved out a wound so deep that we knew right away it was fatal. Great. Ugh. Assholes. The mutant grabbed her with its giant hand and was about to consume her, but even with a portion of her stomach bitten off her, Spinel refused to drop her sword, swiftly stabbing the mutant's wrist with it. The mutant wailed and tossed her body into the rubble. Uncle attempted to rush to her, but the mutant leapt it to an unbelievable height, breaking through the ceiling of the laboratory and climbed out of the room. It was clear that the ceiling would soon collapse and bury the room in even more rubble. Spinel! Unco's face was pale as he shouted to Spinel, who was about to be buried in moments. Capucine comes in and saves the day. No, I'm sorry. I might you know what? I might give the game back a little bit of points if that happened, because that'd be kind of funny. But, you know, I'm still deducting points for it. Spending way too much time than we needed to do. Like, again, the end part, all of this end stuff would be fine if I hadn't spent 2/3 of this route feeling like I wasn't doing goddamn jack shit. And we were just going on and on and on and on. You know what I mean? So, like, this stuff is exciting and everything, but I'm just so jaded at this point that I can't enjoy it for what it is, and I hate that. You know? However, she forced herself to look up and told us about what she saw in the mutant's wound. What's inside that thing? Uncle, you have to save her with your own hands! That was her message. Uncle bit his lip and ran as fast as he could toward the exit to the laboratory. Uncle, Spinel's still... We won't make it. Uncle's voice was heavy with sadness as he replied. Just at that moment, the place that was once the throne of the king pitifully collapsed under the rubble. We practically tumbled out of the laboratory as it completely collapsed. But there was no joy whatsoever in our escape. Spinel, what coursed through my body stronger than pain was the sadness of losing a dear friend. Listen, we don't know that she's dead. We said the wound was fatal, but people have survived weirder shit in this game, so I'm just saying, until we get to the end and they confirm she's dead, I'm gonna be like, no, I don't believe it, because I don't trust this game, so... I certainly don't trust this route. Uncle was also shaken by the sudden death of the woman who had protected me all this time. However, we didn't have time to stay still. And, like, to put her in just to kill her? Douche move. I have a read on our mutant. It's on the move, smashing through the tunnels with reckless abandon. It seems it's headed for the throne room where the royal family once sat. The mutant we just saw was likely the one we had to defeat. What Cyan told us lined up with what we saw. Even after losing their minds, they're still obsessed with power. What a bunch of fools. Uncle sighed in dismay and slowly stood up. He then set me down on some equipment that wasn't submerged in water. Uncle? Cyan Brophies, would you be able to send someone to our location now? And the second son of the Claudes is nearby. He can meet with you in a minute if I give him the order. I see. And then I'd like to ask him to take care of Spacey. It happened so quickly. Huh? Uncle, why? You promised we'd be together until the end. You heard Spinel, right? The gun is inside the mutant, meaning the only way to defeat it is to be absorbed and shoot it with the gun from the inside. I suddenly understood. Anko was going to his death. I doubt that. He'd be absorbed by the mutant, and after becoming one with it, accomplish our objective by killing himself with the gun. No! I clung onto Anko's arm, but he wouldn't reply to me like he always used to. Instead, he looked at me as if trying to stop a child from having a tantrum. I will not, I swear to God, I will fucking throw something. If this fucking route makes me suffer through 20 motherfucking hours replaying the first game just for him to die, and you're calling that the fucking salvation ending, fuck you, game. 0 out of 10, highly don't recommend. And you better hope all the happy little side stories we do at the end make up for how much I'm going to fucking be pissed that we wasted time on this. Because, like, no! Fuck you! I'm already mad! Like, you know? I'm not having any of that bullshit. So you're some fucking miracle. You'll fucking come back and Spinell will be fine. Otherwise, I'm going to find the assholes who wrote this route. I'm going to slap them all in the face. Because fuck them. For making me suffer through this long just for this bullshit? Nuh-uh. Fuck that. Anko deserves better? He deserved better than, like, dragging me through the first game. And then you're going to kill him at the end? Nuh-uh. Bullshit. I don't care if in the first game everybody had a yeah, whatever. There's going to be a bad end in here. I'm pretty sure. I don't know my guide because there's no point. There's no fucking choices left, so whatever. But, like, we have the salvation end, which should be the one we're getting. There's another ending, and I think there's a bad end. So I think there's, like, 3. I think, if I remember correctly. But, like, so, like, we don't need to be trauma dumping here. You know, no. You've given me enough trauma wasting 84 years playing the first game again, so fuck you guys. Seriously, what the hell? The writers, not you guys. You know what I mean? But see, like, seriously? No, I'm not having any of that. Not in the mood for that shit. I will throw hands. Ugh. Oh, we get another CG at least. Still doesn't make up for 84 years playing the first game again. But, like, how sweet. He gave me a gentle kiss on the forehead. It's like the last part in this one. They're like, have some CGs because you haven't had any choices or CG. Now we're going to give it to you. It's still not going to make up for if you try to kill him on me. Uncle? If you're by my side, I won't be afraid of any end that awaits us. And this is the truth, but this is something that only I can do. The watchman smiled. I knew that he was about to escort the mutant into Hades himself. I just couldn't... Don't go. I couldn't let that happen. I don't need a kiss. I just want you to stay by my side. I love you. I love you, Anko, not anyone else. Yes, I too am so happy I was able to fall in love with you again. I love you, Spacey. My partner, my very own princess. I hope you'll be happy in the bright future that awaits. He lowered his lips, and his second kiss was a sign that he'd be leaving me. Anko easily removed my arm that held on to him. Then, although I did see someone mention in the guide that no matter what they did, even following the guide for the ending, they got maybe not as good ending. And it's because you have to do the drifter route exactly as the guide said. Otherwise, this one you can't get the salvation end. So that's also possible that, like, I mean, I'm sure all the same stuff would happen and then there's just a slight difference whether he lives or dies. But we used the guide and went through the drifter route with the guide, so I'm pretty freaking sure. So we shouldn't be heading to a bad end because of that, you know? But anyway. After listening for the approaching footsteps, he stepped away from me. And this is my final journey. I want you to stay here and pray for me to finally reach my destination. Wait, Anko! My pleas didn't reach him. This should be like, then you should be tying this up in a nice bow, not another 10 hours worth of dragging it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should be getting to the end here. Anko walked toward his final destination, starting off on another lonely journey. Let's hope it's not an 8-hour journey. Let's hope it's like an hour. You know, maybe this part, maybe the next part, and that's it. That's what I'm saying. Just like, let's like wrap it up in the next couple hours. You know, deal. Yeah. Because I know that when we get to like the happier ending, and in case we did something wrong and we're on, like, we had no choice and we're gonna get a bad one, you know, I know it'll be worth it. We'll be like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. But I don't know. I actually, at this point, I'm going to be like, it wasn't worth sitting through 82 hours. But the ending will be good. I know that. But still going to be mad about the 82 hours. I'm assuming, okay, it says, see, and this is the only other thing that pisses me off about this one. And I probably wouldn't say piss me off. I'd be like, this is annoying. But now I'm just pissed off because, like, I've been here for 84 years. Is this, we're in Anko's perspective, and then they switch to narrator. We're in other, but we're Anko. Pick a fucking lane. Did you not do any editing on this? Was there no QA? Did no one pay a damn bit of attention? And that's what I feel like. I feel like what you did is, well, people wanted an Anko route and we didn't give them. So, like, let's just redo the whole first game and then we'll throw some shit together and then we'll give them an ending and good enough. And, like, you didn't put any real effort into, maybe you did the endings, but you didn't put a lot of real effort into this aside from, we'll just drag out this game by making you replay the first one 700 times. You know? And then you keep going back and forth where, like, we're Anko, but here's a narrator tone. And then we're other, but we're Anko. But then it should have said fucking Anko. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there was a lack of caring. And I know I have a lack of caring right now. But, like, the fact that even in my lack of giving any fucks, I still give more fucks than they clearly did. And that's just, like, what the hell? Like, you're going to waste our time and you can't even get your shit together? So we're supposed to be Anko, I'm assuming, even though it says other. It's like, that's so annoying. I'm just very irritable today, and just playing this game makes it worse, but I'd never once forgotten about the shining blue accessories on my ears. They were a mark of my sins, of not being able to protect those dear to me. I was sure a fool like myself couldn't possibly atone for those sins now. I want to protect them this time. And the treasures I've been searching for all this time. Or it's like, oh, it's supposed to be that, so you don't know who we're talking about. It's like, of course we know it's fucking Anko. I'm gonna highly doubt it's Adolphe. You know what I mean? I understood now, after knowing the truth about so many things. 19 years ago, the person who felt joy at my birth in the black field of flowers was you, a person so gentle and kind. You who came to me after your long, lonely journey. I was still her, or perhaps I was still her, the same girl you lost in the past, and yet someone entirely different. You still told me, with that beautiful smile of yours, that you loved the current me. That was what gave me the strength to face any despair. I must have lost so much time just by hanging on to you so tightly. An intense pain rushed through me. It was so difficult to breathe that I almost passed out. Tears involuntarily fell from my eyes. Even then, I didn't need to be saved. I didn't need you to come to me. Because this time, I'll be the one to come to you. I put strength into my writhing cells, gritting my teeth as I stood up. I'm not giving up. If the end of Anko's journey lay ahead, I just need to be there with him. I would never let him be alone again. It felt as if my vision was crooked. I realized I could barely keep my balance and began to stumble and fall over. As I was about to fall back into the water, someone from behind me grabbed my shoulder and held me up. Mathis? I'm not sure who's saying this, because I doubt it's Mathis, but someone's saying, in the short while I haven't seen you. Lucas or Eve? No, it's Lucas. Okay, I was like, Lucas hasn't been around in a while, but... You've grown so strong, Spacey. It seems there's nothing more I have to teach you. Lucas! As I called out his name, Lucas made sure I was able to keep my feet firmly planted on the ground. What are you doing here? After what happened, I've been looking for Nadia, who was taken away, still in her comatose state. When I realized something was happening underground and jumped down through the large hole in front of the castle. I've caused you all so much trouble. Well, putting the sins you've committed aside for now, you've been working so hard to save Nadia. His eyes were so much more gentle than they were that night. Though I had no real reasoning for it, I knew that right now I could trust him as my teacher and ally, which was why I gave him all the information I had without hesitation. Is that blood from an injury of yours? If so, you should go back above ground and get treated by Cyan. Oh, no, most of this blood isn't mine. As I've been searching the tunnels, I've been fighting those mutants. I've suffered only scratches myself. I guess you really are strong, Lucas. My self-admonishment won over my amazement toward him. I'm just so weak. I'm not strong like you, Lucas. Maybe that's why Anka was forced to face the mutant alone. As I hung my head down... That's not true. A figure up ahead shouted as it ran toward us. Mathis? I'm sorry I got here so late. I got lost on the way. I heard all of what you just said. Standing next to Lucas, Mathis urgently continued his thought. I've never once thought of you as weak, Spacey. I mean, you were smiling as you read my novel, saying how you wanted to see a similar future by undoing the curse. No normal person can ever feel hope for the future in a land full of despair like ours. I'm of the same opinion as Mathis. You're a kind woman who didn't pity Nadia. You befriended her for who she was. I'm sure those sorts of actions of yours were what made Anka love you. Lucas, Mathis... What I really should be doing is taking you to a safe place like Cyan ordered. But that's not what you want, is it? Because Anka won't be there? Yes. And during the pain, I did my best to keep my legs steady as I gave him my reply. The normal future I want to live in must have Anka in it. I see. Then I'll support your wishes. Allow me to help as well, although... In an instant, Lucas readied his halberd. Keeping these mutants at bay here is about all I can do. He split in half the long arm of a mutant that was crawling through the water. Next, Mathis drew a knife fastened near his ankle. You can chase after him on your own legs, right? He wasn't asking. He was already sure I could. In response to the encouraging gesture, yes. Without hesitation, I straightened up as I nodded back. The mutant that had one of its appendages cut off closed in closer and closer, but before it could catch up to us... I'll be off! To see the one I love. Ignoring my pain, I ran off as fast as I could. It's kind of like she's like, I'll be off to see the one I love! It's like I'm leaving my house and going to my boyfriend's house after school or some shit, and not like running through mutant-infested tunnels while I'm slowly dying. Like, and he's off trying to, like, basically die too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a little chipper for the situation, but sure. Even though I was becoming immortal, the pain in my body gripped me without end. As I was running, parts of my body swelled up, already turning me partially into a mutant. Gross. Then with a sensation like the searing heat of a flame, suddenly turned back to normal. Oh, we're fighting it. Okay. It was an endless cycle of pain, serving as a reminder of my sentence as a sinner in Hades. Still, I didn't stop. I encountered mutants along the way, and would sometimes be smashed into a wall, my body becoming a mess of flesh, which then quickly returned to normal. Dying is so painful. What was fortunate about the encounters was that once I was killed, I was ignored as possible food for them. I imagined that they preferred normal humans as food instead of myself. That was the thing. To not be able to die, is so scary. I mean, right now it's doing you a service, though. You know what I mean? I felt would make me break. I felt would make me break as I faced the massive wall of despair in front of me. I felt what would make you break. Yeah, they didn't give a fuck about this route. They were just like, let's just slap some shit together and then, like, we'll just not pay. And, like, whatever. But regardless, it'd have 14 lines to say that. I want to see my beloved. I continue to experience this feeling that was stronger than my pain. Uncle, just thinking about you can make Spacey into death stronger and prouder than anyone else. That's right. Death herself can never give in to death. I can still move. I can still come to you. I would keep moving forward, crawling, covered in blood. Uncle, all this time, you've been fighting against this pain for Spacey. Why are we talking about us in the third person now? This is very fucking weird. It was my turn now. Once my broken leg returned to normal, I quickly fought to stand back up. I suppose it's because it's like, you've been fighting for her, but it's also me, but it's, I guess, it was a weird choice. I opened my eyes and wiped away the blood running down my skin. Imagine it. I've also written about what might be possible for Arpachel and everyone here. What sort of endless possibilities he and I had to ourselves that the boy who loved books offered to me. We certainly seem to be coming toward an end, but at the same time, again, I don't trust this route. Don't forget it. I can feel an immense will to live from you now. Yes, it appears that you're enjoying life. The expression on your face tells me so. What your teacher taught you, the earnest sincerity you need to ensure you don't lose sight of what's truly important? It's supposed to be so you don't lose sight of what's truly important? Yeah, they really did not. Like, Tim and Ronald stopped giving a fuck about this route a long time ago, too, because they're sleeping on the job right now. It's not helping. Keep thinking. No matter what ruthlessness betrays me, I will research according to my beliefs and keep humans alive, by force if necessary. With an unwavering ego and volition of steel to carry your beliefs through to the end. No matter how many mindless mutants crush me into the ground, how many fucking people in the royal family are there that there's this many goddamn mutants that we are literally hitting 8,000 of them? I don't know who's saying, sorry I'm so late. Oh! I was wondering, I was like, is it Eve this time? But yes, it is. Asgardian the Lycoris, I swear I'll protect you and the Watchmen you love so dearly. Good. With an undying heart that would keep moving forward, no matter what despair awaited me. All of that, Uncle, I had gained because you told me to live. Or... I was assuming... Okay, because, like, for a while she was doing this little, like, flashback montage in her head of each one of her friends and what they taught her. Okay. But then the Eve one seemed like it was happening now, but maybe it wasn't because Adolphe's not the guardian of the Lycoris. And so I assumed it was Eve, and now Adolphe's here, so I don't... Okay, whatever. And I would be with you, resonating with you. Oh, no, okay. No, it is Eve. He's still here. All right, so Adolphe must have found Eve then. Eve! Adolphe! Sorry to worry you, Spacey. Seems I was able to make it through without getting eaten because I was buried under all the rubble. I can't believe you're here. I don't remember you being this misbehaved. As he gave me an annoyed smile, Adolphe readied his sword again to face the mutant that was standing back up. Eve, can you take care of her? Leave her to me. Even while drenched in blood, Eve nodded vigorously, lifting my body with one arm. Eve, what are you?
That's obvious, isn't it? I'm taking you to Unco. I heard from Adolphe, and that he's a dear friend of mine from the past who thought of me as a hero. Honestly, I think he's given me too much credit.
Eve smiled as he was preparing to fulfill his role.
If I'm supposed to be a hero, then I need to take the princess to the person most important to her.
With an innocent smile, he turned back toward Adolphe. He really is like the little ball of golden retriever sunshine, isn't he? While still holding his sword, Adolphe acted as if this were any other day.
Go on, then. And once you get back, I'd love it if you can make some more of your stew. I'm sure Mother's waiting for all three of us to return.
He spoke, believing in both me and Unco. If my brother was willing to believe in his sister, then she needed to respond in kind. Yeah, I promise I will. As I replied without hesitation, the guardian of the Lycoris carried me, rushing off toward his sworn friend. The mutants must have sensed something happening and began to chase after us, but he fended them off and slipped past. Somebody should have killed the royal family before, because they're breeding like fucking cockroaches. Like, there's just too many of these motherfuckers. Like, they're just everywhere. They're attacking here, they're everywhere. Like, there's 7,000 of them. Like, what the fuck? I feel like there's just too many. They were like, there's a mutant, and then there's a mutant, and then there's an... You know, we get it. Move on. Move on. There's too many of them. You know what I mean? He was cut and cut them back. Even while suffering grievous wounds, he refused to stop. His eyes showed no signs of defeat. In fact, he simply glared back at the mob of mutants standing in our way. I mean, we gotta give everyone their moment to shine, but it was like Cyan and Hugo were fighting a mutant, and then we fought the mutant that was the big one, and then Anka goes off, and then there's mutants coming after Lucas, and now there's more, and then we got attacked by several mutants, and then now there's more mutants. It's like, I get it, you're trying to give everyone their moment with the mutants to shine, but like, too many mutants. You're doing this dragging on stuff. He climbed over one mutant, landing a hit on its head and causing it to fall.
I, Eve Noir's guardian of the Lycoris, will fulfill my promise with my sworn friend at the end of his long journey.
Within the dawn in his eyes, he could see a star, his friend.
I wish for a bright future for you with the princess of the Lycoris. Jesus.
The movement of his sword was too fast to catch. His strength was no longer a mere human's. He must have had someone helping him make him strike against the mutant. I couldn't describe what transpired. All I could say with certainty was that his strike split the head of the supernatural mutant in two. Rapidly mutating cells spewed out from it, beginning to close off the tunnel. But before it could...
Go on. We'll all be waiting for you both to come back. At the Lycoris field.
Eve pushed me into the tunnel that led to the castle and turned back to face the reviving mutant. Okay, good. Maybe we'll actually get to the castle instead of, like, having to fight more mutants along the way. I'm just saying, there's too fucking many of them. Like, I'm surprised because of how shady the royal family is that they would let themselves exist. I'm the king and and my brother and my brother and my sister and no, too many people to overthrow because they're so shady and backstabby that you'd just be really surprised that you'd be like, I'm just afraid that my siblings are all going to try to backstab me the way we backstabbed Christine, you know what I mean? So you think you'd kill them all, but like, there's apparently enough of them to have 7,000 mutants. I mean, Jesus. I'm just saying, too many. I walked forth, heading toward a future where my destruction was assured. Ew. When I reached the heart of the castle, I saw the mutant chewing at the very throne it once sat in. And further beyond it, there was the Mad King behind the throne. He paid no mind to his throne being taken, as he was hunched over something smaller than himself, as if trying to protect it. So he has Nadia in the throne room of all places? He was alive, but considering his injuries, he probably wouldn't last long. Maybe Dahut will sacrifice himself to shoot the mutant so we can get the gun so Anko doesn't have to die because he caused this problem and he should fix his fucking mess. Like, I don't want Dahut to die either, but better Dahut than Anko, to be fair. However, the mutant that attacked him didn't seem to have any interest in me. It might have even thought I was a fellow mutant. And that's fine. I took a step forward without hesitation. I was a monster. I was the immortal Anko. Since I could no longer become a normal human being, I couldn't live beside Spacey. I couldn't even make her happy. Well, okay, seriously, you need to stop being such a sad sack, because we've already fucking told you make me happy. Jesus Christ, will you accept my fucking words? Will you listen to me? And that's why I couldn't wish for more than what I had now. Even if it was for such a short time, it's enough that I was able to share my feelings with her. I'd always thought she would never open herself up to Anko after all. I was honestly surprised by how easily my assumption was overturned. It's hard for me to insist that you have other futures that await you after you confessed your feelings so strongly to me. But in the end, I really do just want you to live a normal life. You could leave me here. It was fun. Yes, it was so fun. The more I looked back on it all, the few days I spent with you as Anko, few days? This was only a few days? And you made me sit through 84 hours of a few days? Like, again, you could have sped through a lot of it. You could have cut out 2/3 of this. And it still would have had the same impact. Just show us the Anko scenes, overview all the rest of the bullshit we don't care about, so that 98% was like scenes with Anko. And then even had the ones with Spinel and was like, okay, fine. But you know what I mean? We didn't need, 60% of this. We're bright and dazzling. I love you, Spacey. I offer all the care and love I've given the Lycoris to you. The story of the Watchman of Death would end here. Although I regretted that my fingers, which she said she loved to touch, were crumbling away. I had nothing more to yearn for. I had no regrets. I just wanted to say your name one last time. Oh my god, this is finally the end fucking chapter? Although, now I don't know if Acknowledged by Fate is the title of the right ending, because my guide is sitting across the room, because I figured we'd be here for 84 more years. We're not going to get, I doubt we'll finish it in the next, 20 minutes, but, I honestly am surprised. Listen, like I said when we got to this part, I'm like, we're getting to the point where we should be able to finish it in the next part. That's what I'm actually surprised we don't have 62 more fucking hours to go, the way they dragged this out for nothing. I hate to say that, but the romancing, but they could have taken 2/3 of this out, condensed a lot of it, but they were like, no, we'll give you 20 hours of ongoing. No, you made me replay the first game again. What the fuck is wrong with you? Nobody wanted that. People wanted an ending with Anko, but nobody wanted to play the first game again just to get it. And if you did, you could have just played the first game again. You know what I mean? Condense it and also do some proper editing and formatting and pay attention to what you're doing, because you just kind of slap this shit together and cut pieces from the first and just whatever, and you half-assed it. So I think that's what makes me even more annoyed. It's you half-assed it and you were you're going to be so happy we gave you this no. You did it all wrong. And Anko deserves better than this. But you've made me get to the point where I resent him for existing, for making me go through this. And that's not fair. It's not fair to Anko. It's not his fault that they made us jump through all these hoops for this, you know? Anyway, someone's saying yes. Oh, that's me. I love you too, Anko. Someone was squeezing my hand from behind me. Was I imagining things? Thinking it was impossible, I looked to see... Spacey. The girl drowned in despair was standing right next to me, alone. I finally caught up to you. I squeezed his hand tightly, determined not to let go again. And then they kind of like faded, just a little fade, but they didn't. So now we're in my perspective. But then every time we switch perspectives, it gives you like the little card thing to switch, but they didn't do it this time. So it's like, again, they're like not keeping with the consistency. And it gets, and that's, I think it would have annoyed me. I would have been like, why can't you be consistent? But it's more annoying when you're gonna spend so much time doing nothing that you can't even be consistent in your own game, which shows that you didn't put any care and attention into this. You kind of half it, and you were, you know what I mean? Like you hodgepodge slap some shit, you're like, good enough, and like, rude. So like, why am I supposed to care if you don't? I don't know. Unco's astonishment quickly showed in his face. What are you doing here? I came after you. I didn't want to be left behind. I wanted to see you. As he listened to me, he tried to shake off my hand. No, it's not too late yet. Go back. At this rate, you'll... No, but I refused to let go. I don't want any bright future at your expense. The only future I want is one where I can watch the beautiful stars and the Lycoris beside you. That's the normal life that I want. There's no point in living in a world without you, Onko. Spacey. If that is impossible, then at the very least, let me stay beside you. I want to travel in your story until your final moments. I don't need a happy ending. We better be getting one, though. Onko's fingers shook as he sighed, although again, like I said, I don't know which ending... You know what? Hold on. I have my thing here. Oh, I can't type. I can't get up and move because the bird is sitting comfortably and I can barely move. Let me see if I can bring it. Okay, hold on. There we go. Let's go. Boop. Let's go. Let's go here. Let's go to... I opened it up on my computer. I just want to say. I would normally pop up my guide, but... What's the title? It doesn't tell you. Oh, wait. No, it doesn't tell you the name of the title card. The story of Eternal Salvation is Onko's Salvation End, but that's not the title of the card. And then the End of Death Reincarnation is an alternate, and then there's a bad one, a Pure White Nightmare. So it doesn't tell you what the name of the chapter is to know. So I didn't know if that was gonna, like, the end title. Like, you know what I mean? But we didn't get either one of those. So I have... Alright, so it doesn't tell you. I thought, like, you know what I mean? The title of it might be, like, the title of the chapter. And you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's how you know which one you're on. But no, it doesn't tell you. So that was useless. Well, it was pointless for me to look it up, is what I mean. But anyway, Onko's fingers shook as he sighed. Unfulfilled desires, regret, hesitation. All I can say is I thought when I was looking at the comments, someone said they're getting the Pure White Nightmare, like a bad end, and it was because you have to follow the Drifter's route perfectly. Which is weird, but also kind of makes sense. And like, okay, it's like, so you have to follow the Drifter's route perfectly, right? So that Onko's route ends up at the good ending. Because that's actually kind of genius. I'll give you points for that. Because even though there's only, I think, one ending for the Drifter route, I don't think we had multiple ones. If you don't make the right choices, that impacts Onko's future, which this is what we are. And I'm like, well, that's kind of... I'll give you points for that. But still fuck you for wasting like 10 hours of my time doing shit we didn't need to do. You could have condensed a lot of it because we didn't spend a lot of time with Anko. You'd have a scene here or there, but then it's like, and then we wandered around, and then we did. It's like you didn't need half of it. You know what I mean? You really didn't. And it got really boring really fast. So when you get to the end where we're actually kind of sort of maybe making progress and things should be kind of exciting, you're like, but I'm already like bored now. You know? So like, I feel like the first 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours of this route could have been condensed to like 4. You could have literally just been like, and then we did this, this, and this, and this, and then you go to the scene with like Spinel catching Capucine, and then, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then, okay, there's her stalking Capucine, and you do a couple little scenes, but we didn't need to like, you know, rehash every scene from the first game, basically. You know? Like, we already know who Nadia is, so we didn't really need, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't need so much of it. I know they were trying to set it up and be like, see, and now you're friends with Dahut, but they could, again, condense that scene, so instead of spending as long, you just spend a few things, and then you give us a little overview of what happens, and then, because we'll fill in the blanks. We've already met Dahut. We know Dahut and Nadia's relationship. We know Nadia. We can just fill in the blanks if you give us a high-level overview instead of like, no, we're going to walk you through everything again. See, I didn't need you to walk me through everything. You know what I mean? Like, you know? I don't know. But anyway. Unfulfilled desires, regret, hesitation. He was burdened by all those feelings, yet when he spoke again, his answer didn't change. I'm sorry, Spacey. Regardless, I want you to The mutant's like, are you done yet? You gotta be kidding. That look on your face isn't fooling anyone. I'm assuming it's Dahut. Anko? Right as I heard the other voice, Anko's right ankle was cut in two. With one of his feet now removed, Anko's body fell to the floor. Okay, well, who the hell? The Dahut's the only one that would do this. Even though he was still disintegrating, he was slowly growing back a new foot, but he wouldn't be able to move it soon. As he lay on the ground, a figure landed a few meters in front of him. Wasn't expecting Spinel to be the one. I assumed it was Dahut. Wasn't expecting Spinel. Have you been shady this whole time? Or did you cut off his ankle so that he wouldn't go? Like, I don't... Alright, okay, wait. Alright. You thrown in a twist with her? Okay. Maybe I'll give you some points back. Still hate that you wasted so much of my time, but... Okay. I'm impressed you made it all this way with that dying body of yours. Her smile clashed with the sight of the blood pouring from her body. Spinel... What are you doing here? As Anko asked his question, still in shock, Spinel spit out some of the blood in her mouth. I guess you could say. I was saved by a villain's random act of charity. Spinel laughed, telling us we didn't need to worry about it. She had no weapon that was of use as her sword had broken. But as if in place of that, she herself started moving toward the mutant. Wait, what are you... Was she going to sacrifice herself? Protecting my employer. If that was the contract I made with you, then I'd better get to work. I was like, are they going to say that she's like evil or something? Like, all of a sudden at the end, because like, how are you going to get around that? But like, okay, interesting twist. Okay, no, she was just stopping Anko. I don't know why she had to cut off his foot. For this. To stop him from, because it's not like he was about to leap into the mutant, so I don't sure what the point of that was. But okay. Just to make us think like, oh my god, is she evil? Like, fair enough, it worked, but... I supported Anko as he took in what she said and leaned toward her to shout, No, you can't! This isn't your country to protect! Spacey's right. If someone has to die, it should be me, since I've lived for so long. And, right, your reward. You still haven't received these earrings yet. You were going to sell these and drink whatever you wanted, weren't you? Oh, right. Sorry, I don't need them anymore.
What?
Well, to be honest. As she walked forward, her hair fluttered in a breeze that blew into the room. She already has one. She's got blue earrings. I've already got some of my own. It's a Spinel CG. I didn't say that because I was distracted. I was like trying to think of like, did she have the same stone? She has the same blue stone. And I was like, how did she get them? Then I was like, do you think she came from the same place that Adolphe originally came from? Because because that blue stone is like not from Arpachel, and Adolphe's brother or whatever had given it to him before his parents chucked him into the sea. And then I was like, do you think she's one of his siblings? You know what I mean? That was sold? You don't know. But she could have at least come from the same place because they have, or to be fair, it'd be like sapphires. Sapphires aren't only found in one specific spot, but you know what I mean? They're not found here, in Arpachel. I'm assuming that seems whatever they're supposed to be. And from underneath, I could see a blue shimmer. The purity and color of those stones was the exact same as what Uncle Adolphe and I wore. Actually, Adolphe has a pair of earrings that are the same color too. Because along with my necklace, they were made by him using a stone he's had since he could remember.
Ah, is that so?
It would be kind of interesting if she was like, actually, he was probably my brother. I'm assuming what they're trying to symbolize is that she probably comes from the same place that Adolphe was originally born in. Those earrings you have on.
Right. I took them from your necklace after you died. The only items I could bring with me that proved your existence were those and my sword.
Is she our daughter and she came back in the future to save us as her parents? Listen, don't go there. I see. I'm happy to hear that. He told me the stone these earrings were made from were given to him by one of his brothers or sisters that were sold off. That's what Adolphe told me before. Maybe this is... if this was Adolphe's older sister, that would be kind of funny. I kind of like that, though. That would be interesting. I'm Spinel. I'm a wanderer making my way through the continents as a mercenary. You can call me Nell if you want. And we never ever called her Nell. I like how we've gotten 2 Spinel CGs in Onko. I don't feel like we've gotten as many Onko CGs. I mean, we have, but you know what I mean? Wait. Onko's thin fingers reached out toward her. Sorry to make you wait for so long. Don't go. But he couldn't reach her. She wouldn't stop. But it seems like even without me, both of you, grew up to be men strong enough to protect the girl you love, huh? So that's why you don't need my help anymore. Her desire to protect her family. Okay, so we're basically they're without telling you directly, they're basically telling you this is Adolphe's sister. And when we told her the story of the earrings, she knew. She also does have gold eyes, and so does Adolphe, right? So, makes sense. Brought her toward the remnants of the king, who waited for its final sacrifice. You worked real hard all this time. Leave the rest to your big sis now. I mean, there you go, basically. Please, wait. She left us with a beautiful smile befitting the woman at the heart of the mercenary. Okay, so then there was an actual nice little twist for her, and I take back being there was no point to Spinel, even though I like her. Okay, they had a point, and they had a fun thing with her. They gave her a fun little twist instead of just another drifter. It's Adolphe's sister. Aww, that's kind of cute and sad, and now she dies. And she was in love with Capucine. Okay, I'll give them that. That was out of fucking nowhere and completely random and kind of worth the mental trauma that I've gone through thinking about it. But again, you didn't need 2/3 of this route. You still could have had the scenes with her and whatever, and you still could have cut it the fuck down. We didn't need to be here for 20 hours. As she was swallowed by the pale white body, transforming into part of its mass, She delivered the final blow to its heart in order to protect her family. Aww. The mutant was transformed into a mass of charred remains that dropped onto the floor. Perhaps as a consequence of its rampage, the room looked to be on the verge of collapse, just like the underground laboratory. Then listen, if she was gonna die, this was the way to do it, to have her saving her family. Like, you're reconnecting with your family and you've been there the whole time, and like, I bet she, like, when she saw the earrings, she kind of recognized them and knew. Or was curious, like, how'd you get that? You know what I mean? Like, Anko's fingers remained stretched forward as he stood there silently. The gun dropped quietly on the ground, having fulfilled its role. It was our proof that she ended it all. Anko picked up the gun and saw that one of the bullets was now missing. I mean, obviously. Anko... Although I knew what he had lost, I still hesitated to mention the secret she had been keeping all this time. But as I kept him propped up, I saw that there was no despair in his eyes.
I'm always being saved by someone else. That's why I'll take all those hopes everyone has in me and...
He grabbed onto my arm as I held him.
Continue living and protecting you, my treasure. Even if I have to say goodbye to you forever after that.
He raised his head up, setting his eyes on his future with me.
Yes, I'll live. Just like how you need me in your normal life. I need you too, my beloved Spacey, in the normal life I'm about to live.
For the first time, he said he would live. And on top of that, he would travel through life with me. Uncle... I was so happy I could have buried my face into his chest and started crying. But I could then hear footsteps within the rubble, denying me that chance.
Oh dear. I could never have imagined my family was such a disgusting bunch.
Listen, we got the mutant, we got the gun, we were gonna save. Do we have to fight Dawn again? Someone just slap it. Oh wait, is this where Salome shows up and shoots him with an arrow?
Executing the corrupt members of this land will have to wait.
Dahut.
Hello, and thank you for saving me, albeit circumstantially, Anko. Because of you, I was able to treat her before she died.
Behind Dahut, who was stained in blood, lay an unconscious Nadia in a corner of the room. By treating, do you mean you did all this so you could treat Nadia using Anko's cells? You could have just asked! I would laugh my ass off if he goes through his villain monologue and you're like, you know, you could have just asked us, hey, Anko, can I use some of your cells to save Nadia? And we would have been like, course, bro, Nadia's our boo, we love her. Go for it. You didn't have to create these monsters, you dumb fuck. What the shitballs, idiot? And then slap him upside the head. Why are you so stupid? You're supposed to be smart. Isn't that why Cyan hired you? Dumbass. You caused all this trouble and all it would have taught is communication.
You're correct. I wasn't sure if they'd assimilate well with hers, but for now she should be alright. It's ironic. I've been so fixated on people living a normal life. And when I find a friend of mine about to die, I leave behind all my own objectives and beliefs. I ended up accepting help from the things I hated most in this world. Those immortal monsters.
Badahad smiled, hinting he didn't regret what he did.
That's why the enemy I had to face in the end wasn't a Dolphin, a normal human being. But you, Anko. It's only fitting for the enemy of a man who went against his own beliefs to be one who defied logic itself.
I don't think that's for you to judge.
In contrast, Anko sighed with exasperation. Because he's like, you could have asked and I would have helped Nadia.
Well, what are you going to do now? I'm sure you'll die soon, judging by your wound. The lab that houses your clones is buried under rubble right now. You can't accomplish your goal.
True. At a loss for what to do with himself, Dodd looked up at the window with a crack in it. Okay, good. He's just going to have his, sad dying monologue and not we have to fight him again. However, on his face wasn't fear of his impending death.
The royal family of Arpachel has been destroyed. A new era that its people can't possibly foresee is about to begin. However, I do have some dignity as the last remaining king.
What he took out from his pocket was a weakly pulsating red mass.
That's
the heart of the mutant we need to treat me?
Earlier, when that mutant died, this plopped right down at my feet. If you... Don't make me slap you, you motherfucker! He's like, I have what you need. I will kill you right now. You both came all the way here for this, right?
What if we did?
Well, if I'm about to die soon...
Suddenly, Dahad's shoulders slouched as he smiled.
Oh! Oh, it's an Anko and Dahad CG. And just once, I've always wanted to have a duel with someone as king. If you want this heart to savor, you'll have to kill me and take it. Wouldn't that be great?
Setting down the heart next to Nadia, he readied the bow he inherited from the queen.
So that's the end you've chosen, is it?
As Anko took hold of his gun, he looked toward me.
He's like, do we have it? Wait. I only have one more bullet. We ain't wasting it.
The duel would end in a single strike. One of them would be dead in a matter of seconds. Anko...
Spacey, can you hold me up?
Yes, I'm your partner after all. Let's do it together as those who oversee death.
Thank you.
Anko aimed at Dahad's chest. Dahad aimed at Anko's chest. They closed in on their targets. The two of them had hardly interacted with each other, and never had time to form even a superficial bond. But
Liam Revelbois, son of the proud queen, though you were born into this world, I'll send your soul to Hades where it belongs.
His unwavering eyes focused on Dahad. I mean, you know we're gonna win.
That makes this all the more worth it. Let's end this, Anko, my new enemy. The most abnormal being in all the world, and the person who knows of love most in all the world.
Anko narrowed his eyes and tightened his grip on the gun's trigger.
No, I'm no mere person. I am Anko, the Watchman of Death. However doubtful I am of myself, even if I couldn't live in the same time as she did, even if her destiny is with someone else. I'm an inhuman monster who belongs only to Spacey, and I will live by her side.
With his declaration, their ideals sprang forth, racing toward each other's chests like shooting stars. We could jump out of the way.
The end.
That's a perfect... Not really, but, like, we probably are going to wrap it up in the next part, so... Yay! Listen. Most of the last, like, few hours hasn't really... It's only been a slog because I don't trust that this game was ever actually going to wrap up, and because we spent so much fucking time doing nothing. I mean... I know that the end's going to be worth it and it's going to be beautiful, but I'm still like, it's going to be a great ending, but it's not going to really, in my mind, be worth having spent, what are on, like 17 hours into this? Like, almost 20 fucking hours? Like, I know that, like, several hours worth of that is me bitching about how much I hate how long it's taking, so I know I'm not helping. But, like, it's still at least 15 fucking hours of a route, and you didn't need 2/3 of it. You know what I mean? Like, you could have condensed it, you could have done it better, and not, like, made it so boring to the point where when you get to the end and things are happening and there's scenes that, like, I'm like, yeah, I should care more about this than I do. You know? And, like, we have moments where it's fun and, like, good things are happening, but overall, I'm still like, oh, I gotta record this. Because, like... It's taking so long. The only reason that when I go to record, I couldn't record this part at lunch today like I normally do because my recording software did not want to work and it took like 15 minutes and it wasn't, and I was like, I don't have fucking time for this. So I was like, screw it. But like, so I'm going to record probably the end tomorrow, but it's like, the only reason I'm not going to be like, fuck all of this. I'm going to be like, woo, because we might get the end. But if we don't get the end in the next part and it drags on and on, I'm going to be fucking mad again. Because, like, we're at the point where, like, okay, we should be wrapping up pieces, and then we get our little happy, and we're done. We're done. And they shouldn't drag out. They should just do what they do with everything else. And then this happened, and then in the weeks following, blah, 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 and then you have your happy little end scene, and then you get your credits, and then you get your after credit scene, and then that's it. You know what I mean? That's how they should have done most of this game. Instead of, like, showing us and just slapping in the first game, because they didn't want to be bothered, they could have just typed up a summary and then, you know, showed a little scene and then did a little bit more summarization and a scene here and there and, like, you know, adding... This way, when we get to this point, I wasn't like, what was the point of Spinel? We added a bunch of fucking scenes for nothing. Well, there was a point for her, and now I feel bad. But they made me feel this way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's unwarranted to be so annoyed with how long it has taken to get to a damn ending in this and the fact that, like, I just replayed the first fucking game. Which I didn't need to do. And, like, I'm questioning my sanity now because, like, again, I know what they're thinking. Then when you're done and it's been 85 hours that you played this game, woohoo, and you're like, yeah, but not when 95% of it was the first game again. You know what I mean? Like, I think you confuse us with idiots. Like, oh, yeah, look at all this content we got. It's 95% the same. I mean, it's really not. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I'm just repaying to replay the same damn thing again. That's not fun. That's not fun. I'm not having fun here, you know? I know it'll get better once we get actually to our end. And we wrap up his other endings. And then we go on to the fun little side stories. And that will be a nice little happy tie. But, like, good. Because I gotta be honest, I'm tired of this game. This game takes a lot out of you because it is a lot of heavy kind of stuff, like whatever. And it's like, so like, it was always like that, like, okay. Especially in all the beginning routes when you're like, yes, we're spending like 4 hours replaying the endings of the first game. And I wasn't really mad about it because I'm like, I don't remember them. This I'm mad about because it's like, no, now you're just pulling this shit because you're lazy. And like, now I'm not falling for it. So I don't know. Hopefully we get our ending in the next part. And then we can move on to the fun little side stories, wrap it up in a nice little bow and be like, yeah, no, we had fun here, except for this 15 hours wasn't exactly fun. Okay, like 8 to 10 hours of it wasn't fun. I mean, and that's being conservatively mean. Because there's a bunch of it we didn't need, but there were scenes in between that were fun. But overall, my impression of Anko's route is, I didn't need this. Did we want it? Yes, but not like this. You know, not like this. But hopefully the next part is the end. And then we could be done, because sweet Jesus, it's killing my soul. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. I'll power through. We can do this. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.